Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the How to Choose Happiness and Freedom Show. I'm your host, Lauren Foster, happiness teacher and author of Happy and Free on Purpose Daily Practices to Live and Love Your Life. I'm so in love with this book and in love with the new book that I'm writing. And this month, we have a buy one, get one free special. You know what? If you go over to laurengfoster.com, you'll see all of the great gifts that we have. And for every name that winds up on our email list, however it happens, if you sign up for our newsletter, get a free meditation, a study guide, whatever, however you connect with us, we put you in a drawing for a free copy of the book and a free 30-minute coaching session. So you can do that at laurengfoster.com. Now, I am so happy today to welcome my friend Christine Santos. She is a leader, coach, mentor, and the host of the Wonder Boldly podcast. She helps female entrepreneurs to really thrive and shine, and she's going to tell us more about that. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you so much, Lauren. So glad to be here. And, we were chatting right before we came on and how we met, and you forget, right? You forget, like, how did we even connect?
Uh-huh.
And I'm just so thrilled to have connected with you. You're just such a bright light. And if you haven't gotten the book yet, you have to get it. It is amazing. I'm loving it, loving it.
Oh,
Thanks
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you so much. Christine was one of the first to buy the book as soon as it became available. So I loved that very much. Oh, and Christine was also the winner of the Prosperity Pendant.
Yes, it's beautiful.
I'm wearing my Prosperity earrings with
I
the
should
same
have
stone.
worn it. I didn't even think of it. Oh, man.
It's all good. I'm
Yeah.
actually wearing my sunstone in
Beautiful.
honor of the full moon today. So I love my crystals and my jewelry, and so much fun.
Yeah,
Very much
thank you
fun.
for that. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. I remember you said, you asked me like the specifics of which one I want. I'm like, surprise me. And you're like, well, what do you normally wear? And I said silver. So yeah.
Right.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I was surprised at that you didn't automatically go, oh, I like silver, or oh, I like gold.
I know. You know why? Because I have this like innate thing in me that I love to learn from other people.
Uh-huh.
So like, I like to just kind of like, okay, well, what do you like? And let's see, and, and collaborate and sort of
Right.
just transfer to that question. I was like, well, surprise
me. Right. Awesome. So tell us about Christine Santos. Tell us about your podcast. Tell us about your work.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a story. And so about 3 years ago, I can't do really good math, but I think I was around 49, 48. I'm 52 now. So those who want to do the math, go for it. I was like, I had a very successful, and I still do, corporate career, where I climbed the corporate ladder. I knew really what I wanted, had a lot of intentions for that. And I have been at my company for almost 3 decades now. I keep saying 25 years, but I was just looking at my anniversary. And it's a little bit more than that. But anyways, and have loved that ride and really worked hard there. And at about 48, 49, I was like, I wanted to help people directly. I really feel like in the job that I have, I was doing that, but indirectly, and managing teams and coaching teams and all of that. So I really immersed myself in personal development and what that looked like, and really grew. And as I think so many of us, I'll just speak for myself though, when you start immersing yourself in that, you find out things about yourself and you grow and you learn. And I just was eating it up and loved it and loved it and loved it. And then I was meeting so many wonderful people, and I thought, how can I serve folks? So tapping into the skill set I already had was, I really started out with helping folks with interview skills and their resumes. I'm a hiring manager, and I just felt like, gosh, these people are coming in and they have so much to offer, but the way they were presenting themselves, I thought, I just was like, I can really help. I just wanted to help people. So that's sort of where it started. And from there, it just slowly evolved into really just coaching these women that I was meeting in these. I've taken so many classes and seminars, and if you're in this world, you know how it goes. And it's just this wealth of knowledge and growth, and it just was loving it. So in that process was meeting so many women who were starting their own businesses. And some became friends, some became clients, and just over the past couple, 3 years, just really evolving into being that support. Because as you know, Lauren, you fully well know, when you're out there and you're doing your thing and you're having a business, a lot of stuff comes up. And whether it's, the money blocks, whether it's I can't do this, whether just life. And so really being that partner with my clients. So lifting them up. In the beginning, I definitely had a structure. I had a questionnaire and I had, this is what we're going to do. And it so brought my corporate flavor to it. And we had reports and this is where you are on the joy scale. And this is where you are, and it really evolved from that into more just organically just and I teach people not to say just, so I'm going to remove that word and say organically helping women. And it's typically women. I do kind of feel bad about that, but it is women, helping them organically with their day-to-day, whether that's something personal has come up, whether they're not pricing their products or services because of some insecurities they have. And it just has developed in that way. And I have been really fortunate to work with wonderful people along the way. And in that process, just learning a lot. Like I said, like when you asked me about the pendant, I'm like, what do you like? So we all learn from each other, and so then I started the podcast and just love that. I absolutely love the podcast. So I started the podcast sharing the I want to say tips and tricks, but I honestly don't really like that phrasing, but just sharing knowledge, and saying, this is, these 5 things today, or, this is what I'm thinking of. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about language and how we devalue ourselves and how we speak. And I just did it, right? I said, oh, just doing this.
Right.
Or I'm just going to take 5 minutes of your time, and it's like, no, take my time. You have something to tell me. I'm here for it. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what the podcast was really about. I wanted people to wonder boldly. I felt like I was wondering, what would it be like if I were to start my own business? And, it takes a lot. You can share all of your knowledge, right, Lauren? And we were chatting the other day and I'm like, I need you in my life, because you have such a wealth of knowledge and skill set and all of these things that we can learn. And if I can help one person, as they say, wonder boldly by taking action. If I can give you like some tangibles that, okay, well, I see that to start a podcast, all you need is XYZ or whatever it is, I'm there for it. I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to share what I learned along the way from my coaches, so that my audience can take the leap. And when I say the leap, that can mean anything, to whatever the leap is for that person, right? We all have our own dreams and desires and things like that.
Yeah.
And then along the way, I, for decades, have had a morning practice. I can't even, it's been literally decades. And I don't even know how it started. And I realized over time, definitely not in the beginning. So I'm going to say 2 decades in, I started to realize like, this is really powerful and this is helping me through life challenges, whatever they were at the time. And so I've been continuing to do that. And then with my one-on-one clients, that was one of the things that we always talked about. And, I teach. And so then I said, okay, this is really an interesting component. Let me see what else I can do with this. Can I reach more people? So then I packaged it up as the Harness Your Morning program and had groups come, and we did the Harness Your Morning program. And basically, without getting into the nitty gritty, but basically it was like a 4-week program where we would have calls and I would teach women how to find time for themselves in the morning, just for themselves, right? So as we all know, we're like always doing, but just that time to, whether it was meditate, exercise, all of the above, educate, whatever, finding that space and time for themselves. And so that's been really fun. So I continue to evolve. The best part of it all is just connecting and these opportunities. Thank you so much for having me
Yeah.
on and chatting with you and learning from you. And it's just all good. It's all
Yeah,
good.
it really is. And I am in such agreement that those first few moments of your day are the most important. That's where you can really claim your power for creating your day the way you want to do it. And it's not hard. It's, when I know people will argue with me, but if you make a decision to start with 5 minutes, if that's all you can talk yourself into having, and then grow that into an hour that's just yours for deciding how your day is going to go. Yeah, what could be better than that? That's
Mhm.
fantastic. All right. So, well, a question came to mind that is has kind of been, and I started this business in 2014, and when I first started, I thought I wanted to be a one-on-one happiness coach, and I did that for a while, and then that evolved into some group things, and I moved away from one-on-one coaching, and then and it's still growing and evolving, and I'm still figuring out exactly what it looks like, but I know at the core what it is that I want to accomplish. And I want to help women be happy and free and choose their lives. So it doesn't matter how it evolves or how I get there. I'm loving the journey, and I know what my mission is. But what do you say to a woman? And financial freedom is also so important as well, and that there's that trading your life in a job that you don't love in order to keep food on the table, and that there's no bliss in that. Right. but
Right.
what if I also find that a lot of adults have forgotten how to dream, how to imagine, how to really look within themselves and figure out what it is that they really want and how they would love to create and earn money in the world. So how would you, and we didn't discuss any of this in the beginning, so I hope this isn't putting you on the spot, but how would you help a woman who was, say, in a corporate job, or in just a job that she didn't love, but she wanted out, but she needed the money, and didn't really know what she wanted to do? How would you
Right.
counsel her?
Right. And so I love that question. I'm just going to reel it back to, and you already stated it, but I want to be very clear because there are categories that we all live in, right? And so for right or wrong, I'm not placing judgment, I'm just stating. So you have the individual who is doing what they're doing and they do not have a desire or a thought, or they're really resistant. And let's say, I hope, and I'm just going to stay there in positivity, that they're listening in. Then they're not making a change, they're not buying a course, but they're listening. And maybe at some point, the right time, the right place for them, it'll click, and then they'll look a little bit further. So I'm just saying that because there are definitely that category of people, right? And that would have been me maybe 10 years ago in corporate and doing my thing, climbing the corporate ladder, and I'd be like, no, this is great what I'm doing. And that's great too. Maybe that's great.
Right.
And then there is, and there's so many categories, but just for this discussion, a category that are like, is there something different? And that I get so excited about because that
Yeah.
was me, right?
Mhm.
So what I always say, without a doubt, to put at ease, because all of the resistance comes right away. Start where you are. Start where you are. Because as we know, as you grow, you're going to want to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to do that to continue to grow. And that's my opinion, right? But you're asking my opinion. So,
It's actually
so
the truth. That's kind of proven.
yeah, right. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lauren. Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So, but start where you are. So if you're interested, so what I did was I just started listening to podcasts, started, taking some small classes, started finding people that I resonated with, or just was intrigued by, or I was interested. I was definitely interested, right? And just starting there. And quite honestly, like you said, it is the small incremental changes that make a big difference. the people, and then there's another category that I want to get to. So the other category is the people that are like, okay, I haven't done it. Yes, I'm going to do it full on. I'm doing this thing. And I'll just use the getting up early. Getting up early. I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. Those people crash and burn typically because they haven't done the pre-work, right? Right. And so that's great. So I've often had in my classes, those two categories, the people that are like, I'm going to dip my toe in, and the other person's like, I'm full on doing it, And then it's always, I always have this thing about 3, it's always like the third week, the third day of the diet, the third something, I don't know, maybe that's just me and the number 3 or something, and that's when it's like, oh yeah, I can't get up. I'm not getting up, no, I don't know what I was thinking. And then typically the person who took it more slowly was like, I'm gonna see how that feels. They're the ones that often say to me, who am I? I got up at 5 in the morning or whatever. Who am I? And I'm like, you are you. You've always been there, but it's been underneath maybe the resistance or the questioning or whatever. So the common theme I say is start where you are, and this, just like you said, Lauren, the small increments. If you're getting, so I'm going to use another example because I don't want to keep using the morning example, but let's use exercise. That's always easy, understandable, I think, example. So let's say you want to start doing sit-ups, whatever. Start with 5. You're not going to start with 20. You're not going to start with 10 even. Just tell yourself, I'm going to start with 5. And you know what? Over time, it's going to increase, right? Or you're going to find, shoot, I have some back problems I didn't know about, and I got to try different, right? So you never really want to go full in.
Right.
Because that's not sustainable.
Yeah. So you try things. And so if you don't know what kind of business you want to start, what kind of work you want to do, where you want to go, just start exploring and start trying things on. Is that summation of that message? Yeah. And that's what we teach in meditation too. If you think you don't have time to meditate, start with 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Yeah. Baby steps will get it done. That's incredible. All right. So let's talk about you said you help them to bust through their upper limits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are those limits? What does that mean?
Yes. So again, to set the stage, so this is the woman that has taken the leap. So let's say they've started their business. They're not just dipping their toe in. So they've started the business. They're doing the thing. They're really in a good groove. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Really in a good groove. And what I find is the women that I work with, a lot of it is money. So let's say there's a product, either a product or a service, doesn't really matter. It is, and we all hear about it, that money discussion, that money mindset, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm not really sure. I'm just gonna charge $5 for this, or 10. What do you think? They'll always say, what do you think I should charge? Right? I'm like, I think you should charge 10,000 for it. Go for it, But realistically, you have to really push past that comfort. If you're comfortable, I'm just using easy numbers, but if you're comfortable with $100, try on 200, right? So find where you think you're comfortable and then try on something more, right? So don't go out with the 100, for example, right? Try the 200. You're going to learn from it, right? You're going to learn so much, whether maybe your marketing's not right, maybe it's not exactly the product that your customer wants, all the things, right? So money is really a big one. Another really big one is, which I think from my perspective is really a challenging one. It's when they're in a relationship, whether married, partner, whatever, but a significant relationship, and that other person's not on board. And really establishing their boundaries, and really, you want to be in that partnership, that's really important. Identifying that. Sometimes we have that conversation, identify, how do you see that relationship, have those communications. I'm very big proponent on communicating. And what I find an upper limit is for them to really show their self to their partner. Like, this is who I am, but I'll do it behind closed doors and on Instagram or wherever. They're not really watching over here, but I'm, they still think of me as Mary, the whatever I'm doing here in their eyes, but I'm also doing this other thing. And they're not communicating, and they're not having the discussions to say, this is how I'm seeing us. This is how I want to go forward. Oh, no, that's okay. They don't need to worry about it. They always say, oh, no, they don't. And I'm like, you got to push past it. You got to communicate. They love you, and I'm not talking about, just to be really clear, I'm not a therapist. I'm not talking about marriage counseling. I'm not getting that. I'm talking about the upper limit of showing who you really are, who you're striving to be, your growth and personal development. They kind of like want to keep it hidden. No, you got to show it, right? And you got to communicate. And of course, let's put ourselves in the other person's shoes. If you're saying, these grandiose ideas and it's the first time they're hearing it, they're going to be taken aback,
Right.
and that's okay. That's starting the discussion. So I find money and partner upper limits come up a lot. And then of course I find, which I don't find this one as challenging for my clients and people I've worked with, and I haven't worked with that many people thus far, so take it with a grain of salt, but it does come up, the whole like, who am I to charge this, or who am I, or maybe there's so many other, that definitely all comes up for all of us, right?
Imposter syndrome. Yeah, it just came up in a conversation today. Yeah.
It comes up. And I find in the conversations I have with my clients, those are more manageable. Those are things that the women I work with are easier to kind of work through. We talk it, and they can, inch by inch step through. And then there's always somebody else, right? There's always some other one I'm going to compare to. And I really value the collaboration, we all learn from each other. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. And you know what? Maybe they have a strength and you could learn from them, instead of looking at it from the perspective of, oh, I'm not as great as them. Well, you probably have strengths that they don't have.
Right.
So really looking at it from that way, I think is really important. And I have one child, and I try to really talk with her about that as well. That kind of goes throughout life, I guess, is my point, right?
Yeah, it really does.
Right. As you
Really
grow and you we're always like judging ourselves, and it's,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so, I don't have any children of my own, but I have a cajillion nieces and nephews. And I really I have a vision for the world that our children are going to begin to embrace individuality, not like how I grew up. Everybody was trying to be the same and trying to fit in and, find their place where they were, instead of, just being who they are. I think that will give them such a head start in the world. So that's completely off topic, but that's okay.
yeah.
We can go off topic if we want to.
Yeah, it's so important. It's so important.
Yeah. Okay. So what if you have no idea? What if you just really don't have any idea where to start? I mean, if
I know, right?
or you have 20 different interests, how do you choose which one? Or you have zero, where do you start to try and get yourself into a different creative place regarding your career, your business, your finances, your money,
Yeah, so much, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I think where to start is, again, I would tap into resources. So I'm blanking on her name. You're going to know it. So The Artist's Way. What's her name?
No, I know the book. I don't remember her name.
Julia. Anyways, The Artist's Way.
Anyway,
You can
The
look
Artist's
it up. It's well known. And she will walk you through, if you want to, you can go through the book. It's a whole exercise. It's a lot about journaling, a lot about taking yourself on an artist date, and just really exploring yourself. Like, where to start is really with yourself, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
really with, and you talk about this too, which I love, and I'm going to pause and let you do that. What are those things when you were younger, when you didn't have any of the society and all the worries and blah, blah, blah built in, right? What did you enjoy doing? What did you just lose yourself doing? And what did you like? And looking back to that time, if you can remember that time, and really being still. I think really being still in either journaling or I'm going to say sitting on the beach because that's my thing, but whatever your thing is, in nature, you know what I mean? Like just being with yourself. And I think that the messaging that we need to get rid of is the time, is the, okay, well, I want to start a business and I want to make $10,000 a month, or, whatever it is. And you're telling me just to sit and journal and meditate.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yes, we are.
Right? Because you really have to get to you,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really hard in today's society.
Yeah.
And one other thing that I totally believe in, and it's kind of I'm a little bit too extreme. I'll fess up right now, call myself out, but I don't watch the news. I don't watch television. I listen to podcasts for sure. I listen to Audible. I read. I listen more than I actually physically read, and I should read more. So I do take in things, but I'm really conscious about what I take in. And like, I don't know how else to say that, but it's like, I am so intentional that the other day I'm on a meeting with people at work in the area I'm in. We had a hurricane, and so they were talking, oh, the hurricane's coming. I said, we're getting a hurricane? They're like, watch the news. I'm like, I don't watch the news. So I am extremely, like I said, probably too much.
No, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Do you know, I think it was Wallace Wattles or Napoleon Hill, one of those. It says, stand guard at the portal of your mind. That's what you're doing. You're standing guard going, nah, that stuff doesn't get to come in here. It's very healthy. I approve.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. Yay. Right?
Yeah.
So, and then on top of that, the other thing is, so when you're not letting things come in that you don't need to come in, and I'm just going to say one more thing, because I know like people are like, oh my gosh, she's like living in fairyland. I'm not living in fairyland. I know there's stuff going on in the world, and I know it's really good to be informed and all of that. And I also have a wonderful 82-year-old mother that lives with me. And let me tell you, she will let me know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
So we're all good over here.
Right.
So keeping control of what I consume. So I'm not always, well, I should be doing this. I should be doing that. Well, they're doing that, or, whatever. And also mental health. And then setting clear intentions. And I fall short too sometimes. But in the morning, I set a clear intention of how I want that day to go. How I know what there might be something challenging. Maybe I already know, right? So I'm like, okay, how do I want to present myself in this meeting that's coming up, in this situation? How do I want the outcome to be, right? And set that intention. And that arms me for the things, as we know, that will come up during the day that I had no idea were going to come up. Right. And I can tap into how I intended to be in that moment. Just very similar to this. I set my intentions for this podcast. How do I want this podcast? I wanted to come in very comfortable. I just love you. I value your opinion. I wanted to share some of my thoughts, like really with a clear intention of how I want things to go. Right. And, I'm not talking about controlling everything, which I'll raise my hand. I am a control freak. I'm on a journey not to be. And so I have to watch myself, but it's really like you said, how do I want to live my life? How do I want my house to be, my house in order, right? So my house, knock on wood, is a very happy home. Like, it's a small little family, and my husband, my daughter, and my mother, we live in the same home, and there's a lot of laughter. There is joy. I dance around, I won't do it for you, but it's just, because there are challenging times and you have to go through those. And when they're not there, let's be happy.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. And those happy times arm you with everything you need to get through the challenging times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, and I just love you too. And that what you just said is the magic of how you create a life that's happy and free on purpose, setting your intentions, deciding how you want things to go and then living as if they will and are and having expectations. So good. So good. All right. Well, we are at the end of our time. Is there anything? Oh, for well, we need to know how to get in touch with you, where to find you, how to learn more about you.
Thank you. Yes, so you can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Christine Santos Coach. The podcast is Wonder Boldly. If you want to get on my email list, I send out emails on a weekly basis. Like I said, with sharing, maybe I've been collaborating with somebody, sharing ideas, that type of thing.
Mhm.
You can go to my Instagram bio and click on the link there and get on my email list.
Okay, and I will actually share all of these links in the show notes. So wherever you are watching this, you can just look down and you'll be able to find the links to get to Christine and learn more about her and connect with her and join her tribe.
Yes, thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you for being here. This was an awesome interview. I just love it. It's fantastic and we'll do it again.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much for having me. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of the day.
Thank you. All right. And everybody else will be back next week with another great interview. In the meantime, remember happiness is a choice. You can always choose to be happy first. I'll see you next week.